think that actually their methods are rather primitive. They are working with the same narratives, but also they involve a lot of money in this, and because of money, it happens like, for example, in Ukraine, they started like under our investigation. There are such organizations that calls Index Attack. They have started the situation, and since 2004, after the first revolution in Ukraine happened, they started influencing with disinformation and misinformation, working with civil society to influence on the results of to get power, to control definite regions. As always, it was easier to control exactly east regions because it's closer to borders, and it's really for them strategic area. Yeah, and how they were doing it before the war, they had connections, ties with political parties that calls opposition bloc. Now the name was, and before it calls Party of Regions, and before they also were yeah, and actually it was the money of Russian financial groups that were invested in media. They created such kind of network of media that were selling people the narratives, like telling, showing, lightening different bad things, what happenings with economy, or some reforms that are going against Europe Union, joining the Europe Union, or actions. The same narratives that we see now against NATO, that we for example, that the same narrative they use in many countries in Balkan also. Yeah, that NATO wants to spread, and that virus Russia wants to protect herself, and so on. And US, against US, they also were spreading the narratives through this media. And after the war started, so all this media channel was closed, because before all the time, because of democracy and liberal principles for our society, it was like we can't close the media, but the more talks about the war were, the more we're understanding that these media working not good, not right. After the Revolution of Dignity in 2014, it was not really clear seen that this media works for Russia or doing something bad, because it was looking like just a position, just as a point of view that is totally normal for democratic society and right. And only, like, I guess in November 2021, it was realized that this media should be closed, and because of course most of them were the ownership of Medvedev. And you know the story about Medvedev, who is he, and that's why it was a final decision. So after the war started, as they lose these channels of media, they still had also politics who were in opposition bloc. And these politics start doing video chats in Telegram. And mostly now Telegram used as a main source of disinformation and propaganda. Also, they use Facebook for making a bot network in which they spreading definite messages, definite narratives about the Kiev and situation in Ukraine, and messages about peace, that we need peace in any conditions. Speaking about Europe, Russia was officially recognized by the European External Action Services as the main disinformation source of this year. To demonstrate the scale of Russia's disinformation efforts, we had even Let's Data data and investigation. For example, 20% of articles in foreign media about Ukraine use Kremlin-controlled media like Sputnik or RIA Novosti, and as informational source. But by doing this, foreign media unfortunately amplify mailing narratives, for so-called Russian media with no connections to journalists, but a proven record of spreading genocidal rhetoric. They use lies. They don't use any independent facts. Some journalism already lost the meaning there. After 1 year of the full-scale Russian invasion, the share of the media spreading disinformation remains almost unchanged. And only within a month before January, we had like 7,000 articles with disinformation, manipulation, and Russian cliches. Continuous efforts with various organizations to improve the situation for Russia. It's only during 1 month, the 7,000 articles. And according to statistics, it's like 5% of 50 main tier 1 media use these narratives and without any context. So they don't explain that it's propaganda or something bad. They just use it. And this is the way, first and understandable way. And the second way also, exactly for Balkans, for example, what I know we were investigated is they use Facebook, because Facebook is more spread in these countries. They use Facebook and advertising, Google advertising, to spread messages and narratives about Azov and Nazi. Because many media in Balkans can't come to Ukraine and start lighting up the situation, they just used some narratives that were given by RIA Novosti or Russian sources, or also Reuters. Reuters, usually Russia use Reuters paid content to start spreading some kind of narrative. We have a lot of evidence. It's a pity, but they really have advertising their articles, and Reuters let them do it. But I can't say that it's something bad about Reuters, yeah, but this is the fact. And after this, for example, we have case when about referendum that were so-called referendum, that Reuters was first one who wrote the number of percent of people who were voting, as they wrote. And it was a main message at the beginning of the news that definitely was misinformation. And during the 1 hour, it spread it like in 200 different kind of small media. And then after it, they have changed the main message at the beginning. And but already all these media printed it, and it starts spreading and sharing more and more. The main message is we need to cooperate with Ukrainian independent media and with Ukrainian, such as our organization or the Media Ukrainian Center. It's a communicators who can help you with checking the facts. Also, we have analytical centers that helps also to check the facts. For example, Stop Fakes. It's an international organization that based in Ukraine, but they work in different countries, Balkans also, where you can come to and check just or ask them to help to reach someone exactly to have proofs and evidence. And PR Army also helps with it very fast. Like in an hour, we can find somebody from eyewitnesses and organize you a translation, a live or with some translation with people.